Are you serious? Are you serious, guys? We have serious breaking news, urgent right now. Just now happened. Israel has just bombed Qatar, or Qatar, whichever way you want to say it. Israel has just bombed the capital of Qatar, or Qatar. They have bombed this nation. This is huge, 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 because Israel now is going on the offense against those who have been. And the thing is, Qatar has not fired anything at Israel. This is Israel going right after the Hamas negotiators, the Hamas leaders. Let me tell you about that in just a second. But first, let me put a shout out right now for www.pastorpaulgold.com. That's www.pastorpaulgold.com. Guys, here's what, look, we may all be getting some distracted because of the headlines. The insiders are not getting distracted. They're getting ready. Billionaires, big banks, even foreign governments, they're all quietly hoarding up the gold and the silver. They know the dollar is going to be devalued, and they know the next crash is coming. So you ask yourself, why don't you own what they're buying? Why don't we have just a fraction of the wealth in real assets, gold and silver? Gold, a biblical currency. And while they prepare, the average American is left in the dark. But we don't have to be. Over at Noble Gold, they will help make it simple to protect yourself with the same investment-grade gold and silver the elites are stockpiling. What? You could buy gold and silver, bars or coins, and have it shipped to your home from www.pastorpaulgold.com. If you click on that link, Noble Gold will do this. Or you can call them at 877-646-5347. Real assets you can hold in your hand, folks, or they'll store it in a secured vault for you. Don't wait till the headlines confirm what already is happening behind closed doors. Go right now. Click on that link below the video. Go to www.pastorpaulgold.com. That's www.pastorpaulgold.com. You'll be glad that you did. All right, we do have serious breaking news right now happening as I was finishing my last video on the disclosure that's either we can let the governments of the world do the disclosure, or we can be the ones that give the disclosure. Is it aliens or is it fallen angels? Okay, is it extraterrestrials or is it Nephilim? Okay, now, but first, let's talk about this situation happening right now in the Middle East. Just happened minutes ago, about 22 minutes ago, actually. Israel has carried out a strike on senior Hamas leaders that were in Qatar, right in the capital of Qatar. The Hamas officials are saying its entire negotiating team was targeted. The negotiating team that was based in the capital of Qatar, they have not been involved in any indirect negotiations with Israel since July. But Qatar has been, of course, working closely with Hamas, allowing their leadership to stay safely in their capital. Qatar's foreign minister says the attack is a blatant violation of the international law, adding it will not tolerate this reckless Israeli behavior and the continuous targeting with the security of the region. The IDF says it conducted this precise strike, and those targeted are directly responsible for the brutal attack on October 7th, 2023 massacre. These are the people who directed it. And guys, the explosion was outrageous. The strikes were an independent Israeli operation, according to Benjamin Netanyahu now. He just said this moments ago, 5 minutes ago. Here's what Netanyahu said. The office for Israel's Prime Minister, Benjamin Netanyahu, says today's action against these top terrorists of Hamas, who were the chief orchestrators of the attack on October 7th, basically. He is saying these are the terrorist chieftains of Hamas, the top ones. they were wholly independent. This is a wholly independent Israeli operation. Israel has initiated it, Israel conducted it, and Israel takes full responsibility for it, it said in a statement. So why is Netanyahu saying that? This was totally us. We did it. We conducted it. We orchestrated it. We'll take responsibility for it. We were the ones that killed these Hamas operatives with this precision strike. It's because Netanyahu wants the world to know that the United States did not do this. He wants the world to know the United States did not orchestrate this. He wants the world to know that it was not the ideal of President Donald Trump, that it was Israel operating independently, going after the orchestrators of the October 7th massacre that happened at the end of the Feast of Tabernacles on 2023, back on October 7th, 2023. Now, also, Israel's far-right finance minister, Schmoltz, he said today that the strike on the capital of Qatar shows that terrorists do not and will not have immunity anywhere in the world. He calls the strike the right decision and says it had perfect execution by the Israeli military and their counterintelligence services. At the U.S. Embassy in Qatar, citizens, they ask citizens to shelter in place. The U.S. Embassy in Qatar asked citizens to shelter in place. The U.S. Embassy in Qatar has issued this shelter-in-place order urgent for their facilities. It asks U.S. citizens to shelter where they are and to monitor its social media feed for updates following the strike reports. That is what the U.S. Embassy is saying today. Now, Iran is already condemning Israel for these strikes on Qatar. The foreign ministry spokesman, Ismail Baghdadi, was just speaking on state TV, guys, minutes ago. He said the action was a blatant violation of international law and an infringement upon the national sovereignty of Qatar and the Palestinian negotiators. It must serve as a serious warning for the region and the international community, the foreign ministry spokesperson said. Iran and Israel have been holding a ceasefire since late June after Iran attacked Israel, and Israel retaliated by using the help of the United States and President Trump, who took out the nuclear facility of Iran. So the IDF has also, the leader of the IDF has also left a statement. He said, as we've been reporting, Israel has carried out a strike on the senior Hamas leaders in the capital of Qatar. And the full statement says this, folks, from the IDF. The IDF and the ISA have conducted a precise strike targeting the senior leadership of Hamas terrorist organization. For years, these members of Hamas leadership have led the terrorist organization operations. They're directly responsible for the brutal October 7th massacre, and they have been orchestrating and managing this war against the state of Israel. Prior to this strike, measures were taken in order to mitigate harm to the civilians, including the use of precise munitions and additional intelligence. The IDF and the ISA will continue to operate with determination in order to defeat the Hamas terrorist organization responsible for the October 7th massacre. Okay, so this is where we're at, guys. This is breaking news. This has just now happened just minutes ago, about 27 minutes ago. Israel has, the IDF has done a precision strike and hit in the capital of Qatar. But the precision strike was they right into the building where apparently the officials of Qatar were meeting. It's an incredible strike. Now, here's the thing. Think about what I'm telling you. We had a blood moon. What? We had a blood moon over not only Jerusalem and all of Israel, but all over the entire Middle East, including Qatar, everywhere. The Middle East, this blood moon was when it peaked at its peak of its 82-minute blood moon. When the blood moon was at its peak during its 82-minute period, it was precisely directly over top the city of Jerusalem. And it covered the entire Middle East. I mean, if this wasn't a sign, and I told everybody that this was a sign that, of course, for Israel was in war. But it wasn't just Israel. It wasn't just Israel. But it's Israel fighting its enemies. But it was also, this blood moon was also over top of China, all of China, and all of Russia. And Russia, obviously, is still at war and has been hitting Ukraine harder now than ever. Matter of fact, their largest attack on the capital of Kiev in Ukraine was on the night of the blood moon, during the blood moon, 800 killer drones. So now Israel has went in and has taken out the Hamas senior leadership who have been doing all the orchestrating of this whole thing, okay? And we're trying to pretend to be the peaceful, not even peaceful, but they were saying they were trying to be peaceful. They orchestrated the murdering, the massacring, the brutal, the raping, the baking of babies, the decapitating, the mutilations. It was these guys that orchestrated it. These are the guys who called the shots and have been living in safety and in protection in the capital of Qatar. And Israel has just taken those guys out. Now, this is just days before the United Nations. Matter of fact, I think the UN General Assembly might be starting today, actually, some of the opening preliminary process. I mean, are you serious? They are going to tar and feather Israel during this 80th General Assembly of the United Nations. This is a September to remember. I can promise you that. I can promise you that. And with all of the prophecy that's going on around the world, with all the different events taking place simultaneously, following the very words of Jesus Christ according to what it would be like in the end times. Urgent news, folks. Urgent breaking news. If you just got here, Israel has just bombed in the capital of Qatar. And the reason they did the precision strike was not to bomb the citizens of Qatar, was not to go into war with the nation of Qatar, but to have a precision strike in the capital of Qatar, right through the window of the conference room where the Hamas senior leaders were meeting, killing them all. Now, we don't know how many that was. We don't have the confirmation of that. I've seen the building. I see the flames. I see the explosion. Nobody survives that. And so what I'm saying is these are all signs. And it's really amazing to me because I've had people throughout the years say to me, Pastor Paul, the Old Testament is over. Everything is done now. There's nothing else left to go. None of this matters. None of this that's happening. None of this, it's all irrelevant. It doesn't mean anything. Yet they can't explain why all of these signs are matching the words of Jesus Christ in Matthew 24, Mark 13, Luke 21. They can't explain how all of these signs are matching the prophetic vision of John the Revelator in the book of Revelation. They cannot explain why all the armies are beginning to all of the haters of Israel begin to say they're going to wipe Israel off the face of the map, speaking the very scriptures in Psalms 83. They can't explain it. They just say it's all over. They can't explain it. How every one of these, how that they're trying to part the land of Israel, as it says they're not to do in Joel chapter 3, verse 1 and 2. They can't explain. They cannot explain why the red heifer ashes have been burned and have been saved, preparing for the dedication of the third temple. They cannot explain the wars and the rumors of wars and the very nations who said they were going to come against Israel, and the very ones that are in the Bible in Ezekiel 38, the exact nations of Iran, Turkey, Russia, and others that are building a coalition against Israel. They can't explain it. They won't even try to discount. They won't even try to explain it away. They don't know what to do, because every time they turn around, there's another prophecy, another prophecy, another prophecy, another revelation, an exact prophecy, right on the money. They see it all happening. Everyone can see it. Everyone can see we're in the last days. If you have eyes to see and ears to hear what the Spirit of the Lord is saying, what the prophetic voice, nobody can explain it. They can't explain the earthquakes, the megaquakes. They can't explain the flash flooding of the last 18 months that's been unreal, the rain bombs. They can't explain the temperatures of the ocean rising. They can't explain 7 volcanoes erupting simultaneously after that 8.8 earthquake in Russia. And one of those volcanoes was a volcano that hadn't made a move, hadn't even had a tremor for 600 years. Blew its top. They can't explain the sea and the waves roaring. They can't explain the signs in the heavens. They don't even know what this comet AI is about, that it's a prophetic sign in the heavens. They don't know. All they can say is it's over. It's all been done. Everything's over. Everything's done. There's nothing to see here. There's no end times. There's no, it's all been fulfilled. It's already over. And this is why they will be caught flat-footed when the mark of the beast begins. When the technologies that have been developed, that are right now been developed, that could implement the mark of the beast, they will be flat-footed. They'll be caught dead in their tracks when their congregations start asking them, should we take this mark? Or should we go ahead and register for this? They say it's better than what we've been dealing with. They say we'll even be free of all sicknesses and diseases. They say we'll even live longer. They say we'll have no more theft against our accounts. They say life will be easier. And they say that if we don't, we won't be able to buy or sell. We won't be able to participate. We won't be able to be a part of society. What should we do? They'll ask their leaders, their spiritual leaders. They'll ask them. And they will lie to them. And so I'm giving you a heads up now that the prophecies, and so how close are we then, Pastor, to the rapture? It's at the door. It's at the door. Jesus is standing at the door. He said, behold, I stand at the door and I knock. If any man would open the door, I'll come in and sup with him or commune with him. Okay? And him with me. I will come in. I will be your friend. I will come in. I will be your Messiah. I will come in. I will be your Savior. I will come in. I will be your Redeemer. I am your brother. I'm the Son of God. I'm knocking. Will you open that door? Will you let Jesus in? Or will you be left behind? Like the 5 foolish virgins in the book of in the book of Matthew chapter 25. Everybody knew the bridegroom was coming. Everybody knew the bridegroom was coming. Everybody knew he was coming. But only half of them were ready. The other half said, well, we've got time. And they began to let their oil leak out. They began to let the light go out. They did not prepare themselves like a bride adorned for her husband. This was the bridegroom coming to get a bride, and the brides weren't ready. Half of them weren't ready. Half of them were. And all of a sudden there was a shout about midnight, behold, the bridegroom cometh. Go you out to meet him. Those that had been preparing, those who had been perfuming, those who had been getting themselves ready. They trimmed their lamps and they went out in the darkness with the light of the love of God, and they met the bridegroom for the marriage. But the other half, they weren't prepared. They weren't dressed. They hadn't been following the purification. They had let the oil leak out of their lamps. They had no lights to light. They stumbled and bumbled and fumbled around in the dark. And they missed it. And they ran and they said, hey, to the others that were going out the door. They said, wait, we don't have any oil in our light. Can you give us a little bit of your oil so that we can go too? And the ones that had the oil, the ones that were prepared, the ones that were ready, said, we can't. We got just enough for ourselves. We can't. You got to go and get it for yourself. You got to go find the answer for yourself. You got to make things right and be prepared yourself. Are you ready? Have you been prepared? This urgent message, for those of you who just got here, Israel has just bombed the capital of Qatar. You're going to see condemnation. I'm sure that little Emmanuel Macron of France will probably be running his little mouth because he hates Israel. He hates Israel. He is already trying to part the land. They're going to go into this United Nations. This is a September to remember, folks. Have you given your life to Jesus Christ? Don't wait around. Don't wait around. Don't wait around. I'm going to play one song. Breaking news, Israel has just bombed Qatar, killing the senior leadership of Hamas, and the world is outraged. Are you serious?
He was saying grace over a Tuesday blue plate special when the man in the next booth said, don't you watch TV? Don't you know that God's a myth? I hate to see you waste your breath. There ain't no use in you talking to a ghost that don't
God bless you, Jason.
exist.
I pray for you.
Praying man said amen and looked up from his plate and said, you may not talk to God right now, but there's gonna come a day. If you're a farmer in the field praying for the rain, or you curse him at the gravesite 'cause he called a loved one's name, you can thank him, you can blame him. Either way you're gonna face him, whether you believe in him or not. 'Cause in the end, everybody talks to God. The man in the booth went quiet 'cause he didn't have a comeback. So he shrugged it off and he paid his tab. He shuffled out the door. And the praying man, he prayed.
I have more breaking news
for the man who
coming out of France.
Away, hoping he would see the light before it got too late. But how was he to know he touched an unbeliever's soul? Who got that conversation 2 red lights down the road? If you're a farmer in the field, praying for the rain, or you curse him at the gravesite, 'cause he called a loved one's name, you can thank him, you can blame him. Either way, you're gonna face
We have
him.
breaking news coming out of France.
Whether you believe in him or not.
'Cause in the end, everybody talks to God. Everybody talks to God.
You can thank him, you can blame him. Either way, you're gonna face him. Whether you believe in him or not. 'Cause in the end, everybody talks to God. Everybody talks to God.
We all talk to God. Everybody talks to God. We have breaking news coming now out of France. Urgent. Wow, I just mentioned Emmanuel Macron in my dialogue because he's the one leading the charge. I just mentioned Emmanuel Macron in my earlier in this broadcast, that he has been leading the charge against Netanyahu and against Israel. But the French government has just collapsed. I repeat, the French government has just collapsed. The prime minister now must resign. French Prime Minister François Bayrou has lost a non-confidence vote in Parliament, causing the government to collapse. He will resign, has been confirmed now by CNN, BBC, and Le Monde out of France. President Emmanuel Macron must appoint now a new prime minister. This is the 6th time that Emmanuel Macron's government has collapsed since he has been the president of France. And now he'll have to choose a 7th government. The problem is not the different prime ministers he chooses, it's him. And really, people in France are calling for President Macron to resign also, to allow the people of France to choose a new president, to have an election, so that a new president of the people can put together this next government. Macron just keeps, every time there's an election, every time there's a no confident vote that wipes out the government, he stays, chooses a new prime minister. They try to put together a new government. It fails. He has to put in another one. How can a man who's been in charge for almost 9 years now, how can he have to replace 7 prime ministers? It's time to get rid of Emmanuel Macron, who hates the Jews. He wants to know why his government is collapsing constantly. It's because he's constantly coming against the nation of Israel. It's real simple. God said it. I didn't. Don't get mad at me. But he said, I will bless them that bless you, Israel. He said it to Abraham and to Abraham's descendants. I will bless them that bless thee, and I will curse them that curse thee. You would think somebody would believe it, the word of God, but no, because that happened. That's all over with, Pastor Paul. There's nothing else left now. All the Old Testament, matter of fact, all the New Testament prophecies, everything is over. There's nothing to see here. There's no coalition. There's no coalition here. There's no signs in the heavens. There's no wars and rumors of wars. There's no earthquakes in divers places. There's no murder in the streets. There's no lawlessness in the land. No. There's not a great falling away from the faith. No, Pastor Begley. No. I pray to God that Emmanuel Macron resigns. He is planning on going into the United Nations with a hatchet. Spiritually, he thinks he's going to walk into the United Nations with a hatchet and split Israel in half and demand that the whole world do it. But as he's getting ready to get on the plane to come to the United States, his whole government just collapsed under his feet for the 6th time. I mean, are you serious? Dr. Irvin Baxter said to me, and I can go get the tape. We can go get it. I interviewed him for my television show. And I was blessed to do 8 interviews with Dr. Irvin Baxter on my television shows. And he interviewed me for 2 of his before he died. And one of the shows, I was interviewing him, he said, we were talking about current events and things going on, and will there ever be a peace arrangement? And he kept saying, when you start to see the nations coming together, when you see a peace arrangement and different nations joining in, he said, keep your eye on Emmanuel Macron. This was in 2018. The interview was in 2018. He said, keep your eye on him. He said, I have a top 10 list. I said, what do you mean? A top 10 list for the Antichrist? He said, yes. I said, can you reveal that for me? He goes, I'll tell you what, he's at the top of it. Now, this is incredible that he was prophesying this. I'm not saying he is the AC. Okay? I'm not calling him the AC. But I'm just saying. Okay? I'm just saying. He sure is. You know, if you look like a duck and you walk like a duck and you talk like a duck, my God, you just might be a duck. I'm not sure, but I'm just saying. Let's keep an eye on what he's doing and how he's the leader of the European Union right now. It's unreal. And he has the loudest voice in NATO outside of Trump. He's the European NATO, guru. He's trying everywhere there's some kind of a conflict or a negotiation or peace arrangements or something. He's always there. But he better take care of his own house. This is the last days. Pray for France because they need a new president. They need a new prime minister, and they need a new government. Pray for the people of France. They have suffered long enough. They have put up with corrupt government and corruption long enough. They've been inundated with immigration, and the people will not assimilate, and it's created chaos in the land. They've just about had enough. Wow. This is a September to remember. I'll be back with more current. Meanwhile, there's some kind of a comet or something coming at us. Meanwhile, the UN's going to meet. Meanwhile, Israel just bombed Qatar. Meanwhile, the Gaza Strip is in a state of absolute chaos. Meanwhile, Russia is now really laying the bombs to Kiev. In Europe, there's no peace. When they say peace and safety, sudden destruction. I'll be back. Stay right here. I'm not going anywhere today. There's just too much going on. And, oh, by the way, Heidi said, make sure you let people know this, Paul. There's 3 ways to give your Feast of Trumpets. Boy, I tell you, I wouldn't miss this Feast of Trumpets on the offering. I tell you that. There's 3 ways to give your Feast of Trumpet offering. You can go to my website at paulbegleyprophecy.com and give right there. You can pick up the phone and call 765-414-2230 and give over the phone. Or you can send a check or money order to Indiana. Send it to the Indiana address, Paul Begley Prophecy. That's Paul Begley Prophecy, 1048-B. The B is for the blessings. 1048-B, Sagamore, Parkway West. That's Sagamore, Parkway West, Box 33, West Lafayette, Indiana. That's West Lafayette, Indiana, 47906. That's 47906. So you can send it by a check or money order and with your prayer request by mail. You can go to the website and give right now, or you can pick up the phone and call in the offering with your prayer request right now. You got three different ways to give. The Feast of Trumpets begins, of course, on September 22nd, 23rd. Everybody's looking for the rapture, and September 24th. You can start giving right now. Get out ahead of it. Get ready, because this is a September to remember. I'll be back.